on an all-new Dr. Phil. She saw where her grandson was living.
Pizza boxes with maggots, bottles with fuzzy mold in the nipples. How do you have an infant in those conditions?
It wasn't that nasty.
Do you think those pictures were staged?
I do.
Oh, my God.
You took the baby and left the state.
Yes. Kim and Sam showed up with police and SWAT to get Conrad.
She became guardian.
In 2 years, you haven't been to see your son?
Because I work a lot.
Now they want their child back.
You're saying she tricked you out of the baby?
We didn't know that it was permanent custody.
Apparently you did. You told your mother. You guys need to go backstage and get your story straight. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. You know, Conrad was an adorable baby boy with sparkling brown eyes, an adorable smile, and a playful personality. So what kind of parents would allow a precious child to be raised surrounded by maggots, moldy baby bottles, dirty dishes, and beer cans right next to his bassinet? Well, Kim, the baby's grandmother, says those kind of parents do exist. And sadly, in this instance, she says they're her son and his fiancée, Shannon. Take a look.
My son Sam and his so-called fiancée, Shannon, they're unfit, ill-equipped, negligent parents, and it's been that way since Conrad was born.
Sam and I are not unfit parents. If we were unfit parents, we wouldn't have our daughters.
I don't think Shannon had any interest in being a mother.
When I first had him, I was barely 18. I didn't know how to vote, let alone be a mom.
Shannon was doing everything she could for Conrad, and so was I.
He's thirsty, too. Look at him. Over and over again, I saw things that made me question Sam and Shannon's ability to raise my grandson. I would go over to their place, and there would be dishes with mold, empty pizza boxes with maggots, garbage bags stacked up. There would be nasty diapers, bottles that were full of fuzzy mold in the nipples. It was disgusting.
I had postpartum anxiety at the time. It was hard to connect with Conrad. It made it difficult to clean and even just get up to take a shower because I was constantly full of anxiety.
Every time I picked Conrad up, I had to immediately give him a bath. He was dirty. He was smelling of urine. He was smelling of spoiled milk. He had dirt underneath his little toenails. One day after I picked him up, I changed his diaper and noticed bruises on his tailbone. It was right in this area, and it kind of like curved around a little bit, I guess.
I've never physically abused Conrad, ever. It was actually a birthmark. It had been there since he was born.
Shannon was irresponsible and uncaring about the welfare of her child.
Well, Kim claims not only were they raising her grandson in a pigsty, but their relationship was so volatile that she was forced to step in and take drastic action, using a SWAT team to protect him from his own parents.
Sam and Shannon, they were constantly fighting, breaking up, getting back together, and poor little Conrad was stuck in the middle of all of it.
Sam and I fought a lot back then, and we admit that.
One night, Sam called me and said that Shannon was trying to leave and take Conrad with her to a battered women's shelter. I begged her not to go to come and stay with me, but instead she flew to Kansas where her mother lives. My son immediately filed for an order of protection and drove 600 miles to Kansas. With the help of police and a SWAT team, my son and I got Conrad back. Shannon returned to Illinois within the week, and she and Sam were back together again. I was furious. Because of the instability and volatility in their relationship, DCFS suggested that I obtain guardianship of Conrad. You're like Superman! So I contacted an attorney.
After all of that, Kim convinced us to sign over guardianship to her, or Conrad would end up in foster care.
When we signed that agreement, we didn't really read it through because we trusted her.
I was able to get permanent guardianship within about 30 days.
We thought that once we were on our feet, that it would be a temporary solution and we would be able to get him back once we were ready.
She tricked us.
She saw the opportunity to have another baby and she took it.
Well, Shannon and Sam claim that Kim tricked them into signing guardianship of baby Conrad over to her when he was just 6 months old. Tricked them. Now, they say for the past 4.5 years, she's been raising him 600 miles from where they live and claim Kim is holding their child hostage and will not return him unless they meet what they call her outrageous demands.
In a nutshell, Kim hates me and I hate her just as much. A month after I had Conrad, Kim tried to control every aspect of me being a mom.
I felt like someone needed to step up and take care of this innocent baby. And if that meant I was being controlling and overbearing, then so be it.
She attacked my parenting style. She didn't like the diapers I used. She would come over and bathe Conrad because she said that I wasn't capable of doing it right. She told me that I wasn't able to breastfeed him. She said that my breasts were too small to breastfeed.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Kim was constantly butting into our lives. She would show up to our house unannounced. If she came in and she saw that the dishes weren't clean, Kim would threaten to evict us. Kim said that our relationship was garbage, but Kim didn't help because she was always stirring up drama. She had neighbors watching the apartment to let Sam know if I had people over. This always started fights. He always was questioning whether or not I was faithful because of it. The night that Kim and Sam showed up with police and SWAT to get Conrad, I was stunned. It was happening because Kim was angry that I had broken up with Sam. After all of that, Kim convinced us to sign over guardianship to her. Kim took advantage of us. She made sure the situation worked out in her favor.
She was proud to say that she wasn't the mama anymore.
I resent her more than I've ever resented anybody in my life. I don't ever, ever, ever want to see Kim again.
You guys say that this woman tricked you into signing away your child at
Yes.
6 months of age.
Yes.
And now is holding this child hostage unless and until you meet some outrageous formula that she's come up with before she gives him back. So she tricked you into it, is holding him hostage, pending some outrageous hill that you have to climb that would be virtually impossible to climb.
Basically, yes.
But now, weren't you telling us, and I listened to it on tape, weren't you telling us that, in fact, you didn't think you were a good mother at the time?
I didn't think that I was ready or knew what I was doing. I was 600 miles away from my mom, so I was basically lost on how to take care of a baby.
Okay, so that's a yes.
Mm-hmm.
You said you were suffering from postpartum anxiety.
Yes.
Not depression.
Right.
But anxiety. Yeah. And you couldn't get off the couch, you weren't motivated, you weren't taking care of the baby.
No, he was taking care of everything else that I didn't take care of.
She had a problem with, you know, keeping dishes clean and things like that.
So you agree, when we're looking at the pictures of the crummy housekeeping and the mold and this kind of thing, you said you were taking care of the baby, but nothing else. This is the nothing else, right?
Yes, but there wasn't mold and stuff all over the house.
Well, not all over the house, but there are pictures of mold here.
Right.
Yeah.
There's stuff growing that is not agricultural.
There was plenty of mold in that house before we got there,
Yeah,
though.
there was mold in that house before we got there.
This was not the kind of environment that if Child Protective Services came over and did a home study, they would go, oh, good job.
Probably not.
They would look at that and go, oh, come on.
Probably not.
Right?
You're right.
And to your credit, you recognized that you were behind the curve. Mm-hmm. And you said, can you help us here temporarily?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't that she kidnapped the child, absconded with the child. You actually asked her to take the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, all right, next, Kim says Shannon never wanted to be a mother. In fact, Kim says when Shannon was pregnant, she smoked, drank, and beat on her own stomach, possibly to cause a miscarriage. Did that happen? Is that what was going on? We'll talk about that when we come back, and we'll hear from Kim.
Throughout her entire pregnancy, she did not want to have that baby. Sam told me that during one fight, Shannon was beating on her stomach, trying to, I would assume, miscarry.
I never tried to hurt my unborn child while I was pregnant. Kim made that up.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Human remains found in a recycling bin.
Accused of killing a mother of 3.
I remember saying to myself, I'm not surprised.
His ex-girlfriend speaks out.
You say he choked you.
The exclusive interview.
He left behind a blanket. My daughter sleeps with that blanket.
The shocking photo.
Do you know if that's the only time he ever put on your undergarments?
Plus, she stared serial killer Ted Bundy in the eye.
He said, I'm going to kill you.
That's tomorrow.
It's been 2 years now since Sam has seen his son. Sam and Shannon have never sent a birthday card, a Christmas card, a phone call on his birthday, not a gift. There's been nothing like that.
Kim does everything she possibly can to make sure that we are unable to bond. She won't let me video chat with him. Kim made a stipulation that we have to visit Conrad once a month. We live 600 plus miles away. It's incredibly difficult to visit once a month.
There has been a few times where we've made the trip to go see him, and she didn't allow it at all.
I've never turned down a visit.
Kim is trying to make it difficult for me. She purposefully sabotages my relationship with Conrad.
Well, Shannon actually wrote to me because she says her future mother-in-law stole her son when he was just a baby and refuses to give him back. We've actually talked about that, and I don't think he actually stole him, although that's how it was kind of characterized. Kim says Shannon doesn't deserve to raise him because she's been an uninvolved mother who, when she was pregnant, talked about taking a hanger and ending her baby's life.
Shannon was a horrible mother even before she gave birth to that little boy. Throughout her pregnancy, it was abundantly clear to me that Shannon did not want to have this baby. On several occasions, she said that she didn't want to be a mother and she was going to give up all parental rights to Conrad.
She never actually wanted me to have Conrad. The whole adoption process was actually her idea.
On one occasion, Sam told me that Shannon said she was just going to get a coat hanger and be done with it. During one fight, Shannon was beating on her stomach, trying to, I would assume, miscarry. It was scary that she could do something like that.
I never tried to hurt my unborn child while I was pregnant.
Shannon was a heavy smoker. She smoked a pack a day or more throughout her entire pregnancy.
I was working really hard to quit, but I was not smoking a lot at all. Kim made that up.
In Shannon's 3rd trimester, I took her to the doctor for an ultrasound. It showed that Shannon's placenta was dying. The doctor told her if she didn't quit smoking, she would deliver prematurely. An emergency C-section was performed. When Conrad was born, Shannon loved the attention that she was getting, but had absolutely no interest in that baby.
She's exaggerating. On the day that Conrad was born, I was going through a lot. His birth was sudden. I was only 37 weeks. And then Kim and my sister were in a feud over who got to be in the delivery room. I was really anxious.
Shannon wasn't engaged then, and 5 years later, nothing has changed. Nothing.
Okay, so you're saying it's been 2 years since Sam has seen
Correct.
the child?
Correct. It was 2 years on January 24th.
Did you take this child and move 600 miles away?
I did not.
Well, who moved 600 miles away?
Sam and Shannon.
So y'all are saying it's difficult to see the baby because there's a 600-mile distance, but you're the ones that moved 600 miles away?
We moved 600 miles away because we actually have support in Kansas, and we have no problem visiting monthly. We have no problem spending that money. The problem we have is not knowing if we're going to actually get to see him.
But it's you two who moved away from the baby, not her that took the baby and moved away from you. You put the 600-mile gap in there.
Yes.
Has she blocked you from being able to see the baby?
Yes.
That's
Okay.
not true.
Well,
Yes,
here
it
are
is.
some text messages
Yeah, it is.
between Shannon and Kim regarding visitation. Shannon, So I can see him the 25th, the 27th, then April 23rd and 4th, and then May 28th and 9th. Kim, that's Easter weekend. We have plans. Shannon, of course. So when don't you? Kim, at this time, given your history, visiting, and the wide spectrum of things you've said in the past 72 hours, I'm not comfortable subjecting Conrad to a visit or two for you to disappear again. Shannon, that's what I thought. Never denied you visitation. Kim, it is my job to protect him from harm, both physical and emotional. You have no idea what your crap has done to him. You have never asked and clearly do not care. So you don't encourage visitation?
Dr. Feld, that particular conversation was after a conversation that we had on February 23rd where Shannon suggested that she was going to, she didn't suggest it, she stated that she was going to contact an attorney and terminate her parental rights.
That's not what I said.
And asked me if I was ready to adopt him.
What did you say?
I said that we needed to come to some form of permanency for him because we've been doing all of this for almost 5 years now.
Did you not say you're going to contact, you were considering contacting an attorney?
I said I was considering it because I want some permanency for him. I would prefer that permanency was with me, but it's not about me.
So when you say that to me and then a week later you say you want to see him 3 weeks in a row,
That's not
of course I'm going to,
in a row.
or 3 different weekends. And given your history of popping in for a visit and then not coming, not hearing from you for 6 months or a year.
Why have you not seen him for 2 years?
Because I work a lot.
Oh, Sam.
If he had some sort of certainty that he was going to get to see Conrad, he'd probably visit more.
Probably.
I would definitely visit more if I knew I would be able to see him.
And y'all didn't know that this was permanent?
Right.
Okay. We're going to talk about that when we come back because I'm having a hard time understanding how this could be confused. And we're also going to meet Shannon's mom, Deanna, who says Kim made abuse allegations in order to gain custody of her grandson. So did she trump this up? Did they think this was temporary? We're going to find out why Deanna says Kim has to control everything around her when we come back.
When the police came to my house, it was completely ridiculous. The officers had their vests and their guns, and they were prepared to storm the door.
The SWAT team was not at my request.
It was absolutely not necessary.
My mom says I have a mental disorder.
You guys said she ripped the wings off of a pet bird?
I did not kill my bird. You little witch!
Your children have been removed from the home.
I'm in Hollywood right now, so how can I worry about my children?
I've been worried about your children.
Why don't you take them then, little witch? Off before I hit you on stage.
They believe a stranger is obsessed with their twin daughters.
She took my photos offline and made up a complete lie of her as their mom. My girls are in picture frames all over her house.
How did hundreds of pictures of their twins get on your Facebook page?
I honestly don't know. You're a damn liar. You've claimed my girls as your own girls, and it's gonna frickin' stop.
He was a major league pitcher. Now his family says he's a drunk.
You've been self-medicating with alcohol because your dream got ripped from you.
I'm not a drunkard. This is that bottom of the ninth, man. You got to do this.
We're here talking about the custody, the future of a child. Now, Kim says she'll give her grandson back to his parents over her dead body. Shannon's mother, Deanna, says she was there when Kim called a SWAT team to help her extract her grandson from his own mother's arms. Kim says she's not a fan of Deanna and believes she's manipulative, controlling, and a bully.
When it comes to Conrad, Kim is extremely manipulative and controlling.
Which one's that one?
This is really ironic because when Shannon was pregnant with Conrad, Kim said that Shannon couldn't even take care of a baby and even suggested having an abortion.
I never would have told Shannon that she should have an abortion. That's not for me to say.
Kim has painted Shannon as an abusive, deadbeat mother. This is absolutely not true. If I had ever witnessed Shannon abusing Conrad, I would have called the police and turned Shannon in immediately.
I am 100% certain that Shannon abused him.
Kim used abuse allegations to get the upper hand so that she could get custody of Conrad. When the police came to my house, it was completely ridiculous. There was a whole warrant team to come and take Conrad. Officers had their vests and their guns, and they were prepared to storm the door. It was absolutely not necessary.
The SWAT team was not at my request. It was standard procedure due to the dangerous nature of the neighborhood.
Kim does not want to work towards a reunification or even a visitation plan for Conrad. She dictates where the visitation is, how long the visitation is, who can be at the visitation, and then Kim completely reverses what she's agreed to.
That's not even true. They've never maintained any consistent visits whatsoever.
It is not fair that Kim controls every aspect. We deserve a life with Conrad.
Okay, Deanna, thank you for being here. I'm confused a little bit because I think you guys are maybe confused in what you're telling each other. You think she manipulated the situation in order to get custody of the child?
Yes.
Like maybe even trumped up abuse charges?
Yeah. So
Did you trump up?
I did not make anything up, no, Dr.
Did you abuse the child so
Absolutely
there would be bruises that you could
Absolutely not.
put on them?
No.
So do you think these two are lying to you?
No. And I don't think they're lying to me because there was a second abuse allegation the day that they came to, where the SWAT team came to get Conrad from my house. Mm-hmm. And the sheriff officers were inside my house, and they took, as Shannon put Conrad into the car seat and got things ready, they played with Conrad. And they took him out to the car, and they handed him over, and then they drove 80 miles down the road and claimed that Conrad was crying so uncontrollably that they had to call an ambulance.
Mm-hmm. What happened?
Sam, you were in the car.
No,
you know
no, hold on, let me talk. Because what happened was she walked into the bathroom of a McDonald's. He was totally fine to change his diaper. He came out hysterically crying.
That is not
that
true,
is a
and you
fact.
know it.
That
he
is
was
a
crying.
Fact. You
he
know
was
that's
crying uncontrollably
after you
about
came out of the bathroom.
15 minutes in the car. He woke up and he started crying uncontrollably.
No.
We stopped at McDonald's to change his diaper, hoping that he was wet.
True.
Yes, that is true.
I'm having a hard time understanding. You three are contradicting each other, and you act like you're not. I don't understand. You say you think she trumped this up in order to get custody. Did you not hear them say that they were running to her with the baby, saying, please take the baby?
Right, but they were running to her because she had flown to Kansas to be with me, and she trumped up those charges on abuse to have him taken back to Illinois. Had she not done that, she would have been in a supportive home with somebody who would have taught her how to be a mother and who would have helped take care of her.
But
there was no reason for DHS or DCFS.
Did you not see the living conditions? How do you have an infant in those conditions,
because those
Deanna?
conditions did not exist when I was up there. I was up there.
You were there 2 days before that.
Exactly.
And it was that nasty. It was that nasty. And you said nothing.
No, it wasn't that nasty.
Well, do you think those pictures were staged?
I do. I think that she took them before they cleaned out that property.
They don't even say they were staged.
Well, now listen.
See, that's the thing. You guys need to go backstage and get your story straight. They're telling me that they asked her to take the baby, that she didn't trump something up. They're saying they went to her and said, we're not ready for this baby. We can't take care of this baby. I've got postpartum anxiety. I don't know what to... Will you please take the baby? Temporarily, but will you please take care of this baby?
Except I never would have asked her to had DCF not been involved and had they not come to Kansas and taken him from me in the first place.
You're telling me you didn't know it was permanent custody? You sent your own mother a text saying you're giving permanent custody to her, and she's chewing your butt out for it.
Thursday on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Tell me what happened the night that Chrissy went into the coma.
The last time viewers saw Nick Gordon,
I miss Chrissy and Whitney so much.
Dr. Phil arranged for rehab.
Bobby Christina Brown, the daughter of the late music legend Whitney Houston, has died.
Now, the autopsy results are in, and Nick Gordon sits down to look Dr. Phil in the eye.
I want to give you a chance to set the record straight.
The exclusive interview.
That's the lowest point in my life right there.
Where you left money in the will by Whitney. Photos surfaced of Chrissy smoking out of a bong and snorting cocaine. Did she have a drug problem?
Yeah, it got really bad.
Were you a bad influence on her? They say you punched her in the face and kicked her to the point she was on the floor screaming, and you dragged her up the stairs by her hair.
And the question everyone wants answered.
Did you murder Bobby Christina Brown?
That's Thursday.
There was an appearance and consent to guardianship that were signed by Sam and Shannon on 11/8/2011. Sam and Shannon claim they were tricked into signing over guardianship, but here is a document that shows both of their signatures on the appearance and consent to guardianship. An entry of an order of guardianship as prayed may be made by this honorable court. Okay, now both of you signed that.
Yeah, but the fact that we gave her guardianship is not what we are saying we were tricked into. What we're saying we were tricked into was the fact that it's a permanent guardianship and not a temporary one.
Well, so 2 weeks later, this wasn't like you just went in and maybe, okay, we're young and stupid, we didn't read it. 2 weeks later, they sign again on November 23rd of 2011, this time the order of guardianship. Kimberly is appointed guardian of the person and estate of, and we've taken the name out, but it's the child. You went back in and signed again.
Yes, but we didn't know that it was supposed to say something different. We don't know legal jargon, so we didn't know it was supposed to say temporary guardian.
Well, really, because you then got an email from your mother on the 14th, in between these two, that says, you tell me that you're going to give me temporary guardianship of Conrad, only to notify me the next day by blanking text that you're giving Kim permanent custody?
That's you. I don't...
That's you to your daughter.
Yeah.
You're upset because you sent her a text telling her that you're giving permanent custody to her. And you're telling me you didn't know it was permanent custody? You sent your own mother a text saying you're giving permanent custody to her, and she's chewing your butt out for it.
We didn't know that it was permanent custody until
Apparently you did. You told your mother.
After everything was already signed.
No, that was between the first and the second time.
No, it wasn't.
Yes. The appearance consent to guardianship was signed by you and Sam on the 8th. The order of guardianship was signed by you and Sam on the 23rd. So the 8th and the 23rd. Between those two, you and your mother are going back and forth on the 14th. So on the 14th, you get the text from your mother that says, are you kidding me? You tell me by text that you have given permanent custody to her?
I don't remember it, so...
I mean, it was definitely a conversation we had, and I had concerns, and I spoke with you about, like, not doing permanent, doing temporary. That's why I wanted you to have your attorney to represent you to protect your rights, and him to have his attorney to protect his rights, as well as you having your attorney, so that if this guardianship was placed, that everybody was protected in it.
And it wasn't Kim that comes up with a SWAT team and storms the house. It was Kim and Sam, who you had placed a TRO on at one point. And he also sent a text to his mother. You and your mother are going back and forth on text. Sam and his mother are going back and forth on text. And in one text, he says, you were right, Ma, the whole time. I'm the one that's sorry for not believing my own mother. Now she's going to get him back. Kim, no, she's not going to get him back. Sam, she's just a nutcase. That was a year ago.
We were in a big fight at that time.
Couples argue, I get that. But you guys understand here, I'm looking at this to see, I always look at what people say then versus what they say now. It's he and his mother that come up and take the baby.
Yeah.
And then he's telling his mother, listen, you were right, she's a nutcase.
I was really mad at her at the time.
Yeah.
And I reached out to my mom because I hadn't talked to her in a while.
Over a year.
Yeah. Next, Shannon says if she really was a bad mom, the state would have taken her other 2 children. Kim says no matter what Shannon or her fiance have to say, they're not getting Conrad back until they meet her demands. Does she have that right? And what are those demands? We'll talk about that after the break.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Human remains found in a recycling bin.
Accused of killing a mother of 3.
You say he choked you.
His ex-girlfriend speaks out.
He put on your undergarments?
That's tomorrow.
Shannon and Sam say Kim is evil because she refuses to give up guardianship of their 5-year-old son. For the last 4.5 years, Kim has been raising her grandson because she says his parents are unfit to do the job right. They agree they were unfit way back, but they say it's a different time now. Kim's daughter, Allie, says her nephew should stay right where he is, living with her and her mother.
Shannon and Sam think that they're great parents, but they're really not. They are very inconsistent. Shannon and Sam are constantly coming in and out of Conrad's life. The 2 of them have a very unhealthy and toxic relationship. There is a lot of yelling between them. The 2 of them cheat on each other. Last year, my brother called my mom and said that they were sleeping in separate homes. No child deserves to be around that chaos. My mom provides everything for Conrad. He's got food, he's got shelter, he's got love, he's got security, he's got trust in the people that he's around.
You're like Superman.
They don't give her a dime. Conrad loves her to death. I know that when he gets older, he'll look back and appreciate it. As of right now, I think it's the best thing for Conrad to stay with my mother. If Conrad went to live with Sam and Shannon, he'd probably have a horrible panic attack. He doesn't know them. He's used to being around the people that he's used to being around. You rip a child from that, it's gonna break them. Shannon and Sam, you wanna be near your child that bad? Move to where he is.
Allie, thank you for joining us. You're around this child every day.
Yes, for the most part.
And how's he doing?
Wonderful. He's a great kid. He's got pretty much everything he needs.
How would you describe his personality?
Kind of like me, outgoing, but at the same time very shy. So when he's in one of those moods where he wants to show his new stuff off, he'll take his trucks and show everyone, but shy at the same time.
And how are they doing as parents now?
Right now? Terrible.
How do you know that?
With Conrad, terrible. With their girls, I was out there in December because I just wanted to see my brother. And from what I saw, the attention that they give them, great. Living-wise, it's a step up from how they used to live, but it's not the best.
But you saw pictures before where things were pretty grungy.
I've been in it. I've seen inside of it.
Things have improved.
They've improved from that, yes.
Right. So when they say that things are better, like their living conditions in 2011 were pretty bad versus 2016.
See, that couch...
They provided us pictures
stuff,
which certainly show a different story now. Is that a fair representation, or?
I mean, their kitchen didn't look like that. It was a normal kitchen, had food, you know, on the kitchen and plates and stuff, dirty dishes in the sink. That's normal. But their living room, I mean, it was, they had broken crayons and food all over the ground.
Well, they say for the last
girls.
2 years that they've been living in a 2-bedroom house, which is neat, clean, and well kept for the most part. You say they're attentive to their other children.
Yes.
And
I wasn't there to judge them. I was there to see my brother because that was
you
a
didn't
hard
come
time
out of
for
there
us.
saying, "Oh my God, these children are being neglected."
No.
No indication of that.
No.
Now you have a list of demands for them. How do you guys feel about that?
Some of these are new, like the joint custody thing is new. I'm 100% ready and able to be a good mother for Conrad. When I first had Conrad, I was young, I was dumb, I had no idea what I was doing. Today, I'm in a much better place. I have a house with my 2 beautiful girls. Sam and I have been together and stable for more than 2 years now. I went to college just so that I could be a better mom. I took early childhood education classes. I even went to counseling per Kim's recommendation just so that I could be ready for Conrad. We're happy, we're ready.
Conrad needs a healthy, stable, consistent environment, and I don't feel he'll ever get that with Sam and Shannon.
Why did you take those classes?
The early childhood education classes because I wanted to be able to be a better mom.
Were you aware that she'd gone through this coursework and completed all this stuff?
She provided it to the court last year when we were in litigation.
So that's certainly steps in the right direction, right?
Yes.
Now you have a list of demands for them before you would even consider giving their son back. One is move back to the area where you live, because you're not going to become invisible in this child's life no matter what, right?
Correct.
Become a stable presence in their son's life. And you would say you want psychiatric evaluations for Shannon and will not give custody if she's bipolar.
She's never.
She was.
I'm not
bipolar.
Her mother sent me an email back in 2012-ish, and said that Shannon had been diagnosed with bipolar, and
well, you're not suggesting that bipolar folks can't be parents, are you?
No. If she is and she refuses to take medication, that's a problem.
Let me assure you, there are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of bipolar parents in this country that are doing a wonderful job raising children. That doesn't, you can't exclude, that's ridiculous. Individual and family counseling, you would want them to get some help. Sam must go back on his ADHD medication and be cleared by a psychiatrist. Shannon and Sam must submit to drug testing. Reunification counseling. Needs to feel comfortable with Shannon and Sam as parents. That's pretty subjective. Wants joint custody with Shannon and Sam. They would be primary. Must agree to stay in the area until son is 12. Sam evaluated for drug and alcohol addiction, must be free of drugs for a year. And how do you guys feel about that?
I haven't done any drugs in a long time, so.
So that would be easy?
Most of the list is actually done. Some of these are new, like the agreeing to stay in the area until he's 12, that's new. The joint custody thing is new.
I've been cleared of my ADHD, so that's not even an issue.
Okay, well, we need to take a break, and then we'll talk about this. Next, does Kim, in fact, have all the power here? Is she the only one who can determine if Sam and Shannon are fit to be parents? We'll talk about that when we come back.
Sam and I have been engaged for a long time.
We do not want to have a wedding unless we have Conrad back with us for good.
The whole point of getting married is to start your family, and we can't do that without our entire family.
I would definitely like for my mom to be at the wedding.
I don't want her in the same state as me, let alone my wedding.
If they get married, all hell's gonna break loose.
They've been saying they were getting married for 6 years now. They won't get married.
Ready to get real? Go to drphil.com for advice on relationships, parenting, finances, and more. Plus, weigh in on your favorite episodes, share your stories, and find support in the Dr. Phil community. When you sign up for the community, you will automatically be subscribed to the Dr. Phil Show newsletter. Log on to drphil.com today. Deanna, did you want to say something right before break? I cut you. You look like you were...
Well, it's just like there's always this, have them move back. And I understand that would be the most ideal situation for Conrad. But it wouldn't be the most ideal situation for their 2 daughters. We just can't just think that it's about this one child, because it's not. There's 3 here.
That's a very fair statement. One thing we have to understand and keep uppermost in our mind here is that as adults, we are fiduciaries. We have to keep the children's best interest at heart. So what needs to happen here, I mean, I'm troubled by the fact that you haven't seen your son in 2 years. There's no excuse for that. And if the 2 of you want to have a role in this child's life, you're going to have to start doing it in a stepwise fashion. And I will get you professional help to create what is actually going to be co-parenting. I'm going to get you some help for I'm going to get you a reunification counselor that will set up a plan to do this that puts the child's interest up here. And then we start working our way, and hopefully it can get to the point where maybe the child spends summers with you guys, maybe a couple of weeks, a couple of times a year where you meet halfway in between and you do things where you have a healthy relationship. But that is something that is gone in a stepwise basis that you're comfortable with. And you'll work to want to be comfortable with that in the child's best interest. But we'll get a reunification counselor, that's our gift to y'all, to work towards this. Thanks. You know, you want this child to have a relationship with his mother and father, right?
Absolutely.
But this person will help you guys make sure that your home is like it needs to be, that your priorities are where they need to be, and then we'll work our way up to this, and then the child has everything it could possibly want under the circumstances. If I get you that counselor, will you do that?
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
You know, be gracious. This is your son here.
I know, I miss him.
It begins here. Put your agendas away. Put this child's agenda first. All right, I want to thank all of my guests today. We will see you next time. Thanks for being here. I'll get you some help with this. Okay, Allie, thanks. Shannon, thank you so much. All right, man. Yeah. All right, thanks, guys.